Welcome to the Dollhouse with Miss Angel, a podcast to discuss girly things for girly boys. I hope you can relax and unwind as my voice takes you on a journey from fashion to flowers. Grab a cup of something warm and let's cuddle up. If you feel sleepy, I'm right here. Now, settle down. Let's get started. And may your thoughts and dreams be as fun as can be. Today, I'm looking at Knickers, an intimate appraisal by Rosemary Hawthorne. Now, let's introduce ourselves. I am Miss Angel, and my guest today is...
So I'm Melissa Melody Mercer. I am a sissy from United States, from the East Coast. I'm bisexual, and I am excited to be here with you, Miss Angel.
I'm excited to have you here. Now, thank you for the introduction. Let's get on to the know-how of Knickers, shall we?
I would love to.
So I'm just going to read a quote from the preface, which I found quite interesting. When I first started to collect women's clothes, I was more concerned with the outer than the inner coverings, which is really quite interesting because I find from talking to cross-dressers and sissies that it's usually the opposite way around. They start with the underclothes before they move to the outer clothes. How was it with you?
I started with my lingerie. It was a lot easier to hide, and it's like the first thing you put on, you know what I mean? Like when you're getting ready for the day, felt more right, you know what I mean? Like that's what you pick first. It was just a basic black pair of panties. Nothing crazy.
And how did you get your first pair?
It was my older brother's girlfriend's pair. Yeah.
You cheeky thing. How did you get a pair of those?
Well, she left it over one day, and I saw it, and I took it. And I'm sure my brother didn't even know.
I don't think I could borrow someone else's stickers.
I mean, yeah, you do what you have to do.
You do what you have to do.
I had an itch, and I wasn't, I was young, I was scared, so I did it.
What age were you?
Around 10, 11, 12.
What?
10, 11, 12, just around there.
And nowadays, would you say you collect panties?
First things first, I look for the size now because I can go out and shop for myself. Say I go for overall look, and then I go for like if it will be lace or cotton or
Cotton's good.
Yeah. But I love it when it's lace.
Oh, I love lace too.
And then I'll tell you this because being born a male, when I shave my legs and everything, and I shave all my parts, and I put my silk panties on, nothing feels better. It feels very right, and it just hits differently.
To move on from this, from what I gathered from reading the early part of the book, the history of panties or knickers as we know it has only really been around for the last 100 years, and prior to that, they were very different. So the first women to wear something similar to underwear, drawers, right, which were a masculine garment that you would wear, were considered, and I quote, lewd, loose-moraled creatures of ill repute. So sex workers, essentially, were the first to wear underwear. Basically, before women wore underwear, men did. Nowadays, it's flipped the other way. Any shop, you'll be able to find very few options for male underwear. But the section for the women has all sorts.
Exactly. It's males get boxers and just one pair of underwear. And it's the normal whitey tighties.
Yes, and usually not very exciting.
No, they're
Some
not. They're
novelty
not.
underwear. I do like men's novelty underwear. Like you get it at Christmas time and there's a Rudolph red nose at the crotch.
Those are the exceptions.
Just the exception.
But yeah, you're very right. There's not that many options for men.
Probably know from experience, because you've worn both, what would you say are the main pros and cons of wearing men versus women's underwear?
For the biggest difference, I'd say, is that boxers hold a certain appendage that I was born with. So, in times when, if you're working out or you're walking more, a little more comfortable, and you kind of forget it's there. You forget you're wearing boxers.
But you don't forget panties.
No, and that to me is a benefit. It's when you're wearing my panties, I feel it, and it puts me in a good mood.
Makes you feel femme. Yeah.
It does. It makes me feel fabulous.
See, I have tried on men's boxers with my ex. I mentioned this last time in the bras episode. I don't really understand the appeal as a woman, I suppose. It just feels weird being so breezy. Sometimes when men get excited, they escape the fabric prison. Does that also happen with panties, or is that less of a concern?
That happens a lot in panties. They're not technically designed for me. So yeah, but that gives me an incentive to possibly wear a cage in the future. And
good point.
Yes, because it will happen, and you don't want to be caught in public if you're wearing, especially like a skirt or something, and you were born a male. You do want to be careful. You will have some accidents with panties, but it's it's fun accidents.
So as time moved on, and in the turn of the century, the start of the 18th century, there was a lot of movements for liberty. So there was the French Revolution. There was a lot of desire for change. People began to accustom themselves to the idea of wearing knickers. And the first pair of knickers from the early 1800s are something called pantaloons, and they reached below the knee or to the ankles. And it was made of a light stockinette, so it was similar to stockings, but they covered you up. If you've worn stockings yourself, or pantyhose without underwear, basically like that. It made me realize that people get very obsessed with historical dramas and accuracy of costumes, but really, for the costumes to be properly accurate, for most of the ones before the 1800s, they shouldn't actually be wearing underwear. It's true also of costumes from other countries. So, for example, kimono in Japan, traditionally, they were worn without any underwear. If you were to dress in some sort of historical outfit, would you want to be fully authentic and accurate, or would your behind be a little too breezy?
I think, knowing myself, my behind might be a little too breezy. I think I'm used to them. I like them. Well, that's a lie. I love them. I think I'd want to wear them.
Yeah, it's quite funny to think of Queen Elizabeth, the famous Tudor queen. She's just walking around without any panties on.
Right? Like, it's baffling to me. A lot of things from history do baffle me, so I'm actually not that surprised. It's kind of like, I know you know this, but like, men were the first one to wear heels. It was invented for men to make them lifts. So it's like, it's really not surprising.
Another thing Hawthorne mentions is about pantaloons, which were a 19th century American name for a pair of very loose drawers with frills at the bottom of each leg. which look very much similar to pajama bottoms. And apparently that's where the word pants come. So
From
pants
pantaloons.
became something similar to trousers and jeans, but originally it was a type of undergarment. Like I said, pajama bottoms or long johns, if you know what those are.
Yes.
Sometimes I actually sleep in long johns. Do you need to wear things to fall asleep, or can you fall asleep in your birthday suit?
I run hot at night, so I like to. You would think that means I like to wear clothes under my blanket, but I don't.
Mhm.
I'm actually just up to recently. I was just wearing boxers. I mean,
Mhm.
underwear to sleep. It would be my panties.
Mhm.
But right now, I'm going in my birthday suit. I'm just
Ooh,
sleeping. It's
wow.
just, yeah. I don't know. It's it lets my bits breathe.
Lets your bits breathe. I love it. Well, my bits need to be covered by about 5 or 6 layers. Returning back to the book again, a lot of the issues with undergarments appeared to come around the idea that they drew attention to women's legs and that they were masculine. What I found quite interesting is she brought up the topic of breeching in the book. For most of history, little boys and little girls, up until a certain age, sometimes up to 8 years of age, wore the same sort of clothes. So you would have little boys wearing dresses so that it would be easier to keep them clean. If they grew, it didn't really matter. They didn't move from that until they were, say, around 8 years of age. They would now wear their first pair of breeches, so trousers. Now, nowadays, we don't dress little boys like girls. The closest time you'll see is very young little boys. You might see them in something like a christening outfit, and that can be very unisex looking or girly, lots of lace and things like that. I've been to christenings before. I don't know, have you?
Yes, and I've seen
Yeah.
the same thing. It's pretty much what you just said.
Sort of made me think a little about, you know, little boys wearing girly clothes. And when you were younger, did you ever try any girly clothes apart from the
I
panties?
yeah, but not to anybody's knowledge.
The suffragette movement. One of the early things that they tried to bring in simplification of women's clothing, and that included their underclothing. Some children were wearing underclothes that weighed up to 7 pounds, which, considering how small children can be, that's quite considerate. Next are the petticoats. So usually you would have 3 or 4 different layers, and that might be made out of different fabrics. So, for example, sometimes they made different petticoats that might be made from wool if it was cold, or they would be stuffed with some sort of insulating fabric, because for some countries it would get very, very cold, like Eastern Europe, for example. And then you would put on your gown, jacket, and accessories. So honestly, when you think about all those different layers, it makes perfect sense that they were wanting to reduce the sort of costumes that women had. But I do think that we need to bring petticoats back into fashion. Maybe not 3 or 4, right? But just the one petticoat. I think we should start wearing petticoats again.
I agree. It's definitely not 3 or 4. That's one is that's fun.
We'll bring it back. Bring back petticoats.
Yes.
Petticoat pride! In the late 19th century, Knickers alluded to a closed garment pinched from the male wardrobe that at first risked a woman's reputation as a lady. So the word knicker comes from the idea that women were stealing undergarments from menfolk. Hence the nicking. So that in English slang, to nick something means to steal.
Ah, yes. So this is all coming together now. This is making a lot of sense. That's pretty cool.
So it's kind of ironic that your early experience with wearing women's panties was you nicking.
It comes full circle. It comes right around. Oh my God. It started out one way and now it's the other. I mean, if if somebody was stealing my underwear, they'd be if like you were stealing mine, we'd have the same.
Be good. I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, because no, I nicked them. I can't believe it.
And of course, there's a specific reason why I brought you, of all people, on to talk about panties. Because for around the last year, almost, you've had me try and pick your panties basically every day.
Yes, you would pick my panties out pretty much every day for the last year, and I would wear them and send you pictures.
Yes.
So
No.
you knew I was wearing them all day. It's an amazing experience, and I'm glad we're still doing it because it's
So much
a lot of fun.
I like to think of it like a selection box. I have a selection
Oh,
box
yeah.
of your panties on my PC desktop with
Oh
all my
my God.
icons. So if anyone walks past my PC, they just see the little tiny picture of all your panties.
It's a good thing I'm not in the picture. That's a blessing.
No.
That
Although
would be
I'm now
funny.
tempted to make you my desktop wallpaper.
The world would be a happier place if
We
people
would
just
have no more
started.
wars.
Right?
Cancer wouldn't be a thing. For some reason.
When you're at peace with femboys, everything is right in the world.
Is this a common thing?
It's hard to just find someone who's just willing to just pick your panties out, because they'll also want to try to take you to the next level. And I do think it's a common thing because, a lot of us cross-dressers, sissies, even beginning trans, it's not something you want to tell everyone. You want to hide it. You kind of feel a little shame to it because it's new. You're told it's not. Usually, you're depending on where you brought up, you're told it's not right. So the idea of having someone pick your panties out is a way to still hide it, but share that with somebody. So like with you, I've never really had someone pay this much attention to my panties and everything, but since we started doing this, I felt a lot better about myself, and because I was able to share this part of my life with somebody in a very safe and well constructed way.
Well, I hope you act as an example for other cross-dressers and sissies. Not every woman is put off by cross-dressing.
Hard thing to find somebody who is, like a mistress, or just somebody who is versed in this side, in like helping, people become a cross-dresser or sissy. So it's
they need encouragement. They need someone to sort of kick them up the backside and say, "Come on, put on your big girl panties."
Exactly, or because it's you get confused. Like I was confused. I thought when I was younger, I thought I was supposed to be gay because I like this stuff, and it's confusing. So you can get lost in it, but you just be true to yourself, and everything will make sense.
I always find it quite surprising, the idea that a man who's obsessed with beautiful women and beautiful women's clothes and things like that, the idea that they wouldn't also be somewhat attracted to women.
Right? Yeah, because like you tell certain guys, like you're a cross-dresser, and they'll think you're just flat out gay, and you're like, no. It's like, no. I like cross-dressing. I didn't say I love men,
Yes, it's a different thing.
Exactly.
Yes, many do still like men, but often I've found, more often than not, it's as well as, instead of it being the only thing they like, a lot of the time they also like men and women.
Exactly. See, I had my first bisexual moment. Well, not like just like when I realized I liked another boy when I saw a movie, and it had nothing to do with cross-dressing. I'm in my 30s, so I was a lot younger than that. I was a little kid, and it was the kid from Free Willy.
Oh.
For a lot of people, it's very confusing. So don't feel shame. I had to talk to a therapist to get over my shame. And now I feel bad that I ever felt shame.
Gender is a social construct.
Yes,
don't worry too much about it. It changes all the time. As we've already pointed out, men used to wear heels. wearing underwear used to be a male-only thing, you know.
It's so crazy.
It's silly, yes. Little boys used to dress like little girls in long dresses, all perfectly normal. And to be honest, lots of men still wear dresses.
No, I agree 100%. And then you go to Scotland, you got your kilt. It all depends on where you are and just the narrative they want to, kind of pump out. You know what I mean?
It's rather silly because we've got this sort of revolution now where women can get away with wearing a lot of men's clothing.
Hmm.
I mean, you won't be judged or blinked at for wearing jeans as a woman, even though they're really something that's more associated with men. But you
Hmm.
see a guy out in a skirt, people will stare.
Oh yeah, and they'll have a lot of opinions and they'll judge. But
I've seen
that's
that. I've seen a guy
yeah.
out with his girlfriend, and he was they were both wearing matching skirts, and he had a full-on
Oh,
beard. He wasn't dressed like a cross-dresser. They were just both wearing the same skirt, and I think
oh,
they were
that's
having a
cute.
laugh. And
Oh,
it looked
that's.
like fun.
But I guarantee you, he got judged. But I'm glad he didn't care, and he was just having fun. That's what we all should do.
Yes, I think more people should be cool with that.
We are. Our parents were from a generation that didn't get it, and now our kids are gonna get it. It's a generational thing.
Yes, I think so. And one of the big things is change. Whether you like it or
Hmm.
not, things are starting to change.
That is
Now
very
people have
true.
come more openly out as trans or as cross-dressers. They're not going to suddenly go back into the shadows, you know.
Exactly. See, it's not that there's more of us. It's just
Mhm.
that it's more acceptable, so we're coming out
Yes,
more. Because
definitely.
there was like Irish Catholic people who were like straight out gay and having straight
Mhm.
families, and then coming out years later, like, yeah, I can't do this anymore.
Precisely. I definitely think it's gotten better over time. Although I'm sure people feel nowadays that we've taken 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But I think a lot of it is really the media's fault
I
because
agree. That's
it always blows things out of proportion.
that's their
There's
job.
such a small amount of the actual community that is transgender or a cross-dresser or whatever, but the media makes it seem like it's like 1 in every 3 people.
Exactly. And yeah, no, you gotta stop
Mhm.
listening to the news and research it yourself. That's
Mhm.
that's all I can say, because the news, no matter what TV station you're watching, it's gonna be a little biased. You know what I mean?
It's really just a distraction. I find a lot of the
It is.
times that it's brought up, it's to distract from more important things like government corruption.
I
They start
agree.
shouting about trans women going into toilets, and the politicians have done something bad in the background, and they
Exactly.
don't want us to know about like what they've done with the pensions or something.
Yeah, no, news. It's like in America, we get a
Mhm.
lot of the bad stuff because they want you to be scared and they want you to just, be ready to listen for advice. And
Mhm.
you just got to take it with a grain of salt and do your own research.
Do you think Donald Trump wears panties?
Yeah, he's
Just
wearing
the
a wig
wife
as
of
well.
his, she looks like she's the boss in the bedroom, let's be honest. I bet she sticks him in a pair of panties. And a
Oh,
cage so he doesn't cheat on her.
100%. Come on. He probably loves it too.
I'm sure he does. He looks the type.
When you're in charge of that much, you want to go home and you don't want to be in charge. So I get it.
Exactly,
You
exactly.
know, he was like he was always like in charge. He's running companies. Like, when he goes home, he's wearing panties.
Honestly, that's how I find it. It's always the like ex-army military types or like people who are working in finance or management or some sort of high-powered career. They're always the ones that want to be given a pair of panties and told to be a good boy or
Yeah,
girl.
I mean, yeah, because their whole day is telling people what to do, and they just want to come home and just be a good little girl.
I can never take managers seriously now. Whenever I go into a shop and I see them, always wondering, are they secretly wearing a G-string?
I'm gonna be wondering the same thing because I know how common this is, and it's like now I'm gonna be looking.
Now, to fast forward a little, from the 20th century onwards, female underwear changed to match the changes in fashion. So at first they became short, knee-length pantaloons, which allowed women to engage in more activities like gardening and horse riding a bit easier. Then, as skirts became shorter, they became shorter again and were renamed briefs because they were brief. With the changes in fashion came changes in fabrics as well. So panties became more disposable. And while fabrics like elastic, nylon, and other materials allowed the production of undergarments to become cheaper, they were no longer the well cared for undergarment of the past. So they became more practical and expandable, minus all the cute frilly bits a lot of the time. But we still love a good pair of panties. And me personally, I really like bikini style panties. Absolutely adore them. They're just the perfect shape for me. And I absolutely hate thongs or G-strings or anything that goes up my butt that shouldn't be there.
I mean, that's the thing. They were awful when you first started making me wear them, and now I hate you for this because I love them. It's
good. I'm glad one of us love them.
felt like a punishment, but now it helps me stay in my feminine, happy place.
It reminds me. Yes.
It reminds me of, it reminds me of what I've been fighting to get to, because hiding this side of me was just never going to work, and I just needed to accept myself and jump in with both feet.
But yes, the thing is, although they are not the most comfortable things, I feel like for sissies, it sort of reminds them that they're wearing it. Whereas you could easily forget if you're wearing other types of panties.
Yes, the silk I love because I feel them all the time when I walk, but then it's like you sit down, you do forget about them, you know what I mean? But your thong, it's always riding there. It's right there, riding up, saying, hello,
yes,
I'm still here.
Reminding
You're
you
still
all times that it's there.
And I gotta say,
for photos sometimes, and then they go away into the drawer, never to be seen again. Putting up this photo again. You've seen my Santa girl photo, where I'm wearing a leopard print thong.
Mhm.
That was actually a gift for my 18th birthday. And they were meant to be based on something Rihanna had at the time.
Okay.
He explained to me. And he gave them to me alongside a can of deodorant, which he said kind of looked like a dildo. Wore it once and went, "This is hell," laughed, put it away. And I tried it on again and took those silly Santa girl pictures.
When I was traveling the other day with my thong on, I felt it every step of the way. So thanks for that, by the way.
Damn right.
Even though when I say it's a punishment, it's not. This is where I want it to be. So thank you so much.
Good.
For punishing me with thongs.
I'll put my gun away now.
Yes, please do.
It's okay, it wasn't loaded. I was playing Russian roulette.
It was a water gun.
It's a water gun, yes. In Minecraft, I feel like I need to say in Minecraft, just in case.
There was no gun, everyone. I swear.
Thanks so much for listening. It's been a lot of fun. I found the book a good read, and just to recap, it's Knickers, an Intimate Appraisal by Rosemary Hawthorne. We covered various parts of the book, sped through a lot of the end, but there's more here to enjoy if you like and want to read it in your own time, and it has very nice illustrations. So thank you so much, Melissa, for joining me. And if anyone else is interested in chatting together on future topics, let me know. I also recommend following Melissa here on their socials. I will include them somewhere, maybe in the description, maybe in a comment. You've been a lot of fun. I really like this, and honestly, if you ever want to do this again, let me know.
I think this was just a very fun and very educational program. I had a great time, and now I know a lot of the
History of
history
Knickers.
behind. Yeah, and with how much I wear them, I'm very happy that I know this. This is fun stuff, and now I know that I am a knicker. I have completed the full circle.
Yes, you have.
So yeah, I had a fun time. Thank you for having me on, Miss Angel. This was a great time.
Glad to have you. Glad. Now, I hope you feel suitably femme for listening. And most importantly, until next time.
My darlings.